Hey beauties, welcome back to the show. It's time for some spooks. So if your skincare routine is long overdue, like me, grab your favorite products because this is the perfect time to pamper yourself while listening to some seriously spooky stories. Tonight, we're diving into one of Japan's most chilling internet mysteries, a case that started as a simple forum post but turned into what feels like a real-time descent into another world. So tonight we're going to talk about a story of Hasumi, a woman who got on a train, ended up at a station that doesn't exist on any map, and began posting desperate updates online as she tried to find her way home. And what happened next has haunted the internet for decades. And by the end of the story, you might find yourself looking over your shoulder the next time you hear a train arriving at night. So let's begin today's story. Hey gorgeous! Okay, I've been getting so many DMs and comments asking about my eyeshadows. I just had to sit down and spill all the tea with you guys. And first, let me tell you about my absolute favorite online shopping spot, YesStyle. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say they have literally everything that Koreans use. And since I'm away from home, YesStyle is my go-to place where I get all my makeup and skincare stuff. And you already know I'm completely obsessed with Korean skincare. But when it comes to makeup, especially eyeshadows, I get so excited exploring different Asian brands because each one brings something so special and unique. So let me show you my current eyeshadow obsessions. So starting with this one, the packaging is quite simple, but inside, gorgeous. It's called Cheer-Rep 16 color eyeshadow palette, and I love glittery eyeshadow, and can we just talk about how perfect these neutral and warm tones are? And this one right here, I love the name. This is called Girl Cult Meow Psychic Series. Do you see how pretty the colors are? The pigmentation will just blow your mind. And this one is so pretty. Can you see that? This is my newest love affair. It's called the Flower Nose Little Angel palette. And inside, look at this. So delicate, and the colors are so beautiful, I almost don't want to use it. But the texture is like silk on your eyes. They are so perfect. I love these. And all of these beauties live on YesStyle. And because I love you guys so much, you can get 12% off everything with my code BATB12. If you love a good eyeshadow, if you want something vibrant on your eyes, you can treat yourself. You deserve it. Thanks to YesStyle, my long-term partner, for sponsoring this video, and happy shopping, my loves. Okay, so this story takes us to January 8th, 2004. A cold winter night in Shizuoka, Japan. There is this woman who just finished another long day at work, and she's boarding her usual train home. Same line, same time, she's done this commute countless times before. So there was nothing unusual about it, or that's what she thought. But that night, something was wrong from the very start. So this train usually stops every 7 or 8 minutes. It was reliable, very predictable, like clockwork. Yet tonight, it just kept going. 10 minutes passed, 15, 20, but still no sign of slowing down, no familiar station announcements. And outside the window, the landscape drifted by. But it wasn't the suburban scenery she knew by heart. No houses dotting the hillsides, no familiar stations with people waiting on platforms. Just a blur of strange, empty countryside sliding past in the darkness. Inside the carriage, something was even more unsettling. So this woman looks around the car, and what she sees makes her stomach drop. There were 5 other passengers with her, and all of them completely motionless and not normal sleep. Their heads are tilted at weird angles, mouths slightly open, like they've been drugged. And nobody shifts in their seat. Nobody even breathes visibly. The silence was just suffocating. Her chest tightened. The air suddenly felt so heavy. She wanted to shake someone awake, ask if they noticed it too, but when she looked closer at their pale, blank faces, she just lost her nerve. So she pulled out her phone. And back then, Japan's biggest online community was called 2channel, 2chan for short. So you can think of it like an early, wilder version of Reddit. With trembling fingers, she typed out a message in a thread called Post About Strange Occurrences Around You, thread 26. So she wrote, I'm on the train I always take, but something's strange. It hasn't stopped for 20 minutes. There are only 5 of us here, and everyone else is asleep. And that single post would become the beginning of one of Japan's most famous internet urban legends, the Kisaragi station incident. So this woman, posting under the username Hasumi, thought she was just sharing a weird inconvenience from her commute. But as the minutes dragged on, her updates grew more unsettling. And at first, people on the forum brushed it off. Maybe you got on the wrong train. Could be a delay or a detour. But Hasumi knew her line. She took it every single day at 11:40 p.m. from Shin Hamamatsu Station, and this wasn't normal. The responses started changing as the thread gained attention. Comments came fast, and people seemed genuinely scared for her. Go to the conductor's room, knock and see what's happening. Tell us how many stations you've passed. Hasumi gathered her courage and walked down the empty carriage. Every step echoed strangely, as if the train itself were hollow. And when she reached the front, her heart sank. The driver's compartment was sealed tight. The small window was covered with a heavy blind. And when she knocked, tap, 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 no one answered. And then, without warning, the train plunged into a tunnel. The windows turned to solid black. Not a single light outside, not even the faint glow of an approaching station, just suffocating darkness, swallowing everything. Her reflection stared back at her in the glass, pale and frightened as the train thundered forward without end. And after more than an hour of this nightmare ride, the brakes finally screeched, the car shuddered, the train slowed and suddenly stopped. Her fingers trembled as she typed, "It stopped. I see a station sign. It says Kisaragi. Should I get off?" The board lit up with replies, but no one had ever heard of that name. No such place existed on any map. No such station had ever been recorded on the Enshu railway line. The doors slid open with a hiss. Cold air rushed in, sharp and biting. Hasumi stood frozen at the threshold. Step off into the unknown or stay inside this strange, silent train with its motionless passengers. Comments poured in by the dozens. Don't get off. Leave immediately. Find another train. Walk along the tracks. You'll reach a main station eventually. But the empty carriage behind her felt suffocating, and the platform, though eerie, was at least something solid. So with a shaky breath, she stepped out. The first thing she felt was the cold, not ordinary winter air, but something that seemed to seep under her skin, rattling her bones. The station was completely deserted, not a single person anywhere. The ticket office was dark and abandoned, its windows cloudy with dust. Electronic signboards flickered weakly, their screens dead and flashing in silence. Her heels clicked sharply against the concrete platform, the echoes bouncing off the walls too loud in the emptiness. And she posted again, "I'm here. The sign says Kisaragi, but there's no one, no lights, nothing looks familiar. This doesn't feel like my city at all." And the thread exploded with activity. That station doesn't exist. Get out of there now. No, just follow the tracks. Walk until you see real lights. Call a taxi, anything. Are there buildings nearby? But when she looked around, her stomach turned. Beyond the platform stretched only wild fields, overgrown weeds swaying in the night wind. Behind them, low mountains loomed like crouching beasts in the dark. Not a single streetlight, not a single house. The only thing that marked this place as real was the lonely station sign, Kisaragi. And here is where it gets really unsettling. Some of the people on the message board started digging into the name itself. And turns out, Kisaragi can be written with the kanji for demon or devil, the devil station. And that detail hits different when you're reading someone's real-time posts about being trapped there. Hasumi tried calling home. Her parents had never heard of Kisaragi Station either. They started searching maps, looking online, but found nothing. So, getting desperate, she called the police. Her voice quivered as she explained her situation. And the response was flat and dismissive. That station doesn't exist. Stop making prank calls. Her blood ran cold. She tried to find a taxi, a payphone, anything. But there was nothing. No schedule posted, no way back. And while she was searching, she heard a strange noise. Thump, thump. This rhythmic drumming echoing through the darkness. And this sound was getting closer, like heavy footsteps. Along with it came the faint tinkling of bells, as if something was moving through the night toward her. And the message board was in chaos again. Go back to where you first got off. Now. Don't look back. Whatever you do, don't stay there. Following the desperate advice from the forum, Hasumi decided to walk along the railway tracks, hoping to reach the previous station. Just minutes in, disaster struck. Her heels snapped. The sharp crack echoed unnaturally loud in the silence. She stumbled, nearly falling into the gravel. As she limped forward, the drumming sound grew louder, more insistent. And that is when she heard a voice behind her. Hey, don't walk on the track. That's dangerous. She spins around, expecting to see a station worker. Instead, there is this old man with only one leg, just standing there in the darkness. And before she can even process what she's seeing, he disappears. Not walks away, he just vanishes. Terrified now, Hasumi forced herself to keep moving. The drumming was getting closer, and staying still felt like death. She hobbled forward, bleeding from her fall, clutching her broken heel. Before long, a massive tunnel appeared ahead of her. It yawned open in the darkness, a passageway with no visible end. Above the entrance, a sign read Isanuki. The name itself carries an ominous weight. It combines kanji with deep cultural roots. Isa often appears in ancient Japanese names and can relate to the sacred, while Sanuki contains elements meaning aid and penetrate or pass through. So some interpret the full name as symbolizing a passage between the real world and the supernatural, a threshold where the normal rules stop applying. Some scholars even suggest the Isa component shares mythical roots from Izanagi, the creator god who famously journeyed to the underworld and came back. Whether coincidence or deeper meaning, the tunnel's name evokes a passage where divine forces might aid in passing through from one realm to another. She posted one last time before entering. The tunnel, it says Isanuki. Should I go inside? The message board exploded. Don't do it. Turn back. Find another way. But Hasumi had no choice. The drumming was almost on top of her now, and the tunnel was the only way forward. Inside, it was pitch black, nothing but the sound of her own footsteps echoing back at her, distorted and multiplied in the darkness. She walked for what felt like hours, guided only by her phone's dim light. And finally, she saw it, a faint glow far ahead. As she got closer, she realized it was the tunnel's exit. And standing near the mouth, silhouetted against the pale light, there was a man. At first, she felt a wave of relief. Finally, another human being. Someone could help. She quickly posted, I met someone. He says he can give me a ride to a nearby business hotel. The comments started flooding in immediately. It's strange for someone to be out there at this hour. Do not get in that car. If you go deeper into the mountains, it's going to get dangerous. But Hasumi was exhausted, terrified, and this man seemed friendly enough. So she got in his car, and almost immediately she knew she'd made a mistake. The driver wasn't heading toward any hotel. Instead, he turned into a narrow mountain road, driving deeper into the wilderness. When she asked where they were going, he wouldn't answer. He just kept driving, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. She posted frantically, "I think the car is going further into the mountains. The driver won't answer my questions. He's just muttering to himself." And her phone battery was draining fast. The post became shorter, more desperate. The driver had started mumbling under his breath. And then her final message. "Something's wrong. I'm gonna try to escape if I get the chance. I'll leave this as my last post, just in case." And after that, nothing. The thread goes quiet, except for hundreds of people frantically refreshing, posting messages into the void. "Hasumi, are you there? Please respond. Someone call the police." But Hasumi never posted again. Right after Hasumi's final post, the message board plunged into complete chaos. Thousands of users kept refreshing the page, waiting for any sign of an update. Some tried to stay optimistic. Maybe her battery died. She's probably safe. Others were skeptical. This has to be fake. Someone's just messing with everyone. But most couldn't shake the growing dread. That final message, "I'll leave this as my last post, just in case," felt too real, too desperate to be fiction. Some users even took action. At least one person reported it to the police, but got the same dismissive response Hasumi had received. "There is no such station as Kisaragi. This sounds like a prank." As days passed with no word from her, theories started piling up. Some said she must have slipped through a doorway into another dimension. Others whispered that maybe she died in an accident while dozing off, and what she experienced was her final journey to the afterlife. The tunnel represented the path into the underworld, and the man she met being a guide leading her there. Now here's where the story gets even stranger. After Hasumi's disappearance, people started copying her story. Other users began posting their own experiences with mysterious stations that shouldn't exist. Whether inspired by her tale or experiencing something genuinely supernatural, these copycat stories followed the same terrifying pattern. They called them Ikai stations, Otherworld stations. The name stuck because they all seemed to exist in some parallel dimension, accessible only through accidents of fate or timing. There is Yami Station, which means darkness station. Someone posted about boarding a train in Kyushu that passed through a foggy tunnel before stopping there, deserted, with flickering lights and the constant feeling of being watched. And there is Katasu Station, said to be connected to Kisaragi somehow, as if they're stops on the same ghostly line. And Sutaka Station in Kyoto, supposedly marked by a torii gate, standing alone on an empty platform. These stories spread across the internet as the legend moved from 2channel to Twitter, creating this mythology of a supernatural railway network running parallel to the real world. A shadow transit system that occasionally intersects with ours, trapping unsuspecting passengers who board the wrong train at the wrong time. And some people think they figured out where this all happened. There is a little station called Saginomiya in Shizuoka, same area where Hasumi was traveling on the Enshu railway line. But here's the interesting part. When a reporter investigated Saginomiya after the legend became popular in 2019, it didn't match Hasumi's description at all. The station had attendants, heavy foot traffic, and was surrounded by buildings, nothing like the desolate, unmanned platform she described. But according to an Enshu railway worker back in 2004, when Hasumi posted her story, Saginomiya was completely different, much darker and more isolated. No convenience store, no bike parking, just this lonely platform in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by fields and mountains. Exactly like what Hasumi described. So maybe the railway company embraced the connection, and they actually renamed Saginomiya to Kisaragi Station temporarily when the 2022 movie came out. and sold replica tickets that sold out in an hour. But that raises the question, could Saginomiya have been Kisaragi Station all along? Maybe the whole thing was just a case of a confused, scared woman who got off the wrong stop late at night. In 2004, without advanced smartphone technology or GPS, getting lost at an unfamiliar rural station could easily feel supernatural. Add panic, darkness, and an overactive imagination, and maybe Kisaragi Station was born from a very human mistake. But then again, how do you explain the drumming? The one-legged man who vanished, the tunnel that seemed to lead somewhere else entirely. And there's something that makes you think. The timeline doesn't quite add up. Hazumi posted at 11:14 saying she was in trouble on the train, but later claimed she boarded at 11:40 p.m. And some people point this as proof it was all fiction. But others wonder, in a place that exists outside normal reality, do the usual rules of time even apply? And 7 years later, in 2011, someone claiming to be Hazumi posted again. The story was different this time, said she'd been saved by a mysterious man who fought off the driver and told her to walk toward the light. Next thing she knew, she was back at her home station with her parents calling her name from their car. But was it really her? The writing style was different, and some details didn't match. So most people assumed it was someone else riding the legend's popularity. But the timing was interesting. It coincided with the story spreading from 2channel to Twitter, reaching a whole new audience. And the story became so famous that it spawned an entire genre. People kept posting their own encounters with mysterious stations, and always following that same pattern. A train that won't stop, sleeping passengers, arrival at an impossible place. In 2022, they even made a movie about it, which is named after the station. The legend tapped into something primal in Japanese culture, the concept of kamikakushi, being spirited away by supernatural forces. It's the same idea behind movies like Spirited Away, where someone crosses an invisible boundary into a world that operates by different rules. So, what do you think happened to her? Do you believe places like that exist in the gaps between what we know and what we think we know? Maybe she stepped through some invisible boundary into a world that runs parallel to ours. Maybe it's all just made up. But true or not, the story has become something more than that. They're a modern myth about the fear of being truly lost. Not just geographically, but existentially. About the terror of finding yourself in a place that doesn't officially exist, with no way to prove where you are or get help. So next time you're on a late train and it starts going a little too long without stopping, and the other passengers are all asleep, and you see a station sign with a name you've never heard before, think twice before getting off. Because some destinations don't appear on any map, and some journeys don't have a return ticket. Okay, that is a wrap for today's story. Hope you guys sleep well, and I will see you guys in our next episode. So until then, bye-bye.